Every now and then, whenever the results of public examinations such as those conducted by the West African School Certificate Examination (WASC), the National Examination Council (NECO), and the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board (JAM) results are released in Nigeria, it usually heralds news headlines. This is because of the high failure rate that attends such exercise. As it is often the case, various education stakeholders have adduced different reasons for the discouraging performances. One distinctive viewpoint on the issue is born out of the belief that once the foundation is faulty, a lot of difficulties will be encountered as pupils move up the educational ladder. Since the implementation of the Universal Basic Education UBE law, which began in 2005, pupils, especially those attending public primary schools, have been promoted into secondary schools without writing any examination. The National Common Entrance Examination conducted by the federal government and various versions done by the states were stopped. It was thought that since the UBA stipulates that all school-age children must get uninterrupted access to free and compulsory education for 9 years, 6 in primary school and 3 in junior secondary school JSS, conducting examinations would not be necessary. However, this has not helped the system, as there is no measure to check effectiveness of teaching and learning. Following the stoppage of these examinations, public school pupils were promoted and placed in secondary schools using continuous assessment scores, which, as claimed by some people, used to be altered. Many private schools, on the other hand, conduct entrance examination for pupils applying to their schools. However, complaints have trailed the abrogation of the common entrance examinations. Stakeholders continually lament the poor quality of pupils admitted into GSS 1 in public schools, alleging that many could not read properly, write legibly, nor comprehend appropriately. Another effect of this situation is being felt at the end of their secondary school education, where most of the candidates presented by these schools could not make the minimum of 5 O-level credit passes in the West African School Certificate Examination required to gain admission into tertiary institutions. To correct this imbalance, Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola's administration has since inception focused on massive infrastructural renewal to provide conducive and learning-friendly environment across the public schools. Having achieved a great deal in this regard, attention is now being shifted to qualitative teaching and learning.
Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC fund. It used to be a counterpart fund between the state and federal. But within the last 2 years, I think they've put a separate money aside for teacher training, which they give to every suburb in each state. And that amount is as huge as 140 million. In actual fact, last year it was 150 million. And it is specifically devoted to teachers training. Within the last 4 years, I can tell you that we have trained nothing less than 6,000 or 7,000 teachers, and such training are varied and covers so many areas. Some of the trainings are targeted at head teachers, some at assistant head teachers, some at teachers, principals. School.
Thus, the Lagos State Ministry of Education, in taking a step further, introduced the placement test to correct the quality of primary education, which is regarded as the foundation of education, as mass promotion is not helping the state to produce the right quality of students. On 14th July 2012, Lagos State Placement Test into Junior Secondary Schools JSS for Primary 6 pupils took place in 90 centers across the states. Pupils were tested in English, mathematics, quantitative, verbal and vocational aptitude, and must score up to 50% to be admitted into public secondary schools. The turnout was impressive.
Before we did that test, we were also a bit skeptical and even a little bit jittery. Why were we jittery? We were jittery because we were saying, are these pupils that serious? Have the teachers been teaching them what they need to do? Will it not be like exposing ourselves? But thank God, the result was not as bad as we thought, because there were enough enlightenment publicity about it. Parents were called upon and told to assist their pupils and children to do better. Teachers were also admonished and implored to buckle up their shoes and ensure that they impact appropriate knowledge onto these children. The children too, the pupils too, were encouraged to stop playing pranks and face their studies the more. And at the end of the day, it's not as bad as we wanted, neither was it too good, but at least we had 67% pass overall. And we are going to do the receipt exams for those who did not do well at the first sitting of this October.
The introduction of placement test was a follow-up to similar measures adopted at different levels of education in the state.
Very novel because we are coming back to the basis. I am a beneficiary and a participant of common entrance. I did it when I attended Christ Church Cathedral's primary school on Broad Street. In our days, before you move from a state to a state, you must pass up to examinations. It's tests. You see that in those days we do have repeats. That is, you repeat a class if you are not obet. It's pushing, and that is what has led us to this place. It's everybody. God did not give us the same rate of assimilation and brain to take things. So it's better to develop at individual rate. Development is not a wholesome issue. It is gradual, and so it is in human too. The ability to absorb and take things and implement, it's not at the same rate. So if you, for example, should grab something better than I do, then why won't you progress and I repeat it so that I can be better for it in future to myself and to the society? So the common entrance issue, I support it. I feel is the noble venture.
They are going back to the old system, and the old system is very good. It's ideal, so that all these pupils leaving the primary school will not be automatically going to the junior secondary school. So those who do not perform very well, let them repeat. It will help the academic excellence we need in Lagos State.
It's trying to let us go back to the basis. It has taken us back to the basis. This is what it was on ground before now, but within a short while it was scrapped for no reason. But for doing this, we will know the quality of our pupils. It is not just going to be on trial, but it's going to be on merit, so that they will be worthwhile for themselves and for the nation at large.
You know, the level of education is deploring. You need to be well lettered. You need to have a basic foundation before you go to secondary or university. There are a lot of university students who cannot write a sentence correct. When this is done, you have qualified graduates in the nearest future who can represent the country. I think it's a good idea, very good idea. Because earlier you just see dropouts. You see people forging certificates to go to secondary and university. Once this is done, you see genuine qualified students in the secondary and tertiary institutions.
Further to this, The present administration irked by the poor return on investment, especially as Lagos State spends millions of naira yearly on West African school certificate examination fees for candidates in public schools. SSS3 pupils that do not make 5 credit passes in subjects including English and mathematics in the mock examination preceding the wax examination would not be sponsored by the government. Also, pupils in other classes that fail to make up to 50% in English and mathematics would be made to repeat the class. As government will not continue to pay for children who are not ready to learn, parents must ensure that their children not only stay in school but must be serious with their homework, study and pass their exams. Many parents and teachers have praised the move of the state government in introducing placement tests, as it has restored seriousness, improved attendance, boosted attention span and interest in the course of study. Pupils who cannot cope with the test or who cannot score 50% and above in English and mathematics would not proceed to GSS1 at the beginning of the 2012-2013 academic session. They would have to repeat the class or go for vocational training.
Anybody that now fails, because we've given them enough opportunity to prove themselves, so anybody that now fails will definitely not be promoted and will have to sit back and repeat that class. And one of the things we also intend to do, because if a child having done it the second time does not pass, yes, the tendency might be there that that child is not as brilliant as one would have expected him or her to be, but it also rubs off on the teacher and the school, and we expect that the various teachers will also have to double up their efforts, concentrate more on such pupils and make sure that they bring them up to the level that will make them to excel at the next attempt.
For any pupil that is not able to proceed beyond primary education, efforts are ongoing by the Ministry of Education to partner the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation (WAPA) on how these pupils can be absorbed into any of the 17 skill acquisition centers spread across the 3 senatorial districts in Lagos State.
The way it's initially designed, most of the people in our technical colleges, 5 of them in Lagos State, are expected to be products of the GSS 3 classes, and that has even been intensified if you are familiar with what is going on in Lagos State now. There are so many. We've entered into partnership with Samsung, name it, all of these professional and industrial establishments that have assisted or partnered with Lagos State to really have a full-fledged technical colleges. So that is the way it is at the moment. But we are already thinking of another program, particularly when we started this issue of placement test, that should a child, even right from primary 6, starts, or should we discover that a child, even after sitting for the exam once or twice or the 3rd time, cannot make it, can there still be a way that a special program can be put up? The governor has challenged us and has actually given that particular assignment to the general manager of the technical colleges. Something is already in the pipeline with respect to ensuring that pupils from primary schools who cannot even go into junior secondary school will be technically developed for them to sustain themselves in future.
In these centers, available courses include aluminium fabrication, catering and hotel management, computer studies, refrigeration and air conditioning, printing technology, welding and fabrication, shoe leather works, wood and furniture making, hairdressing, barbing and cosmetology, amongst others. Just
come to acquire skill, computer skill. There's no age limit to acquiring any skill, be it technical, administrative, and what have you. And that is why I believe during our days, computers were not there. And by the time computer is coming, we are moving out of employment. And that was why we feel if we still want to fit in to the IT era, we must learn this thing.
I've spent close to 3 weeks or thereabouts here, but I tell you, I think compared to somebody, an apprentice outside, I think what I've gained within these 3 weeks, that person would have gotten it within like 2 months, 3 months. I have learned.
Ordinarily, if I'm to go outside and receive this kind of training, it will cost me more and other inconveniences will come up. So I quite appreciate this Lagos State government incentive. I'm highly impressing, and this place is boosting my to computer systems, something I'm supposed to have known, which I have not known before. In short, it is an impressive program.
Now I'm a married woman, but my cooking is not perfect. But ever since I came here, I've been doing wonders in the kitchen. When everybody is happy, I can bake. I make a lot of pastries. I can cook. In fact, it's the best thing I tried right now. It's better than that of TSC.
For me to learn computer, because I have now, I'm still working as officials in 20 years, so I want to learn computer. After learning computer, I can establish my own computer, or I use it in working in office, use the certificate. Without computer editing, I don't think I can work in any office. It's very essential and important.
I wanted to study computer, so we were told that the government is having a school here whereby we can come here and learn whatever thing we like to learn here. At least it will only cost me tax clearance to get into this school. Meanwhile, we can go outside and pay as much as 15,000 to get into a computer school outside. So I think this is far more better than that, and we'll get the same education you get from 15,000 from just 2,500 naira tax clearance.
I'm really impressed for the government move to have established the functions of these establishments, and I've actually gained a lot of the outputs which has enhanced the good functions of the establishment, and it goes all along with our people in this community. And as the current chairman of this Egbeda Central Community Development Association, I really appreciate the efforts of the government to have made it possible so that those people who are from the poor side of the people, they can easily enjoy this setup.
In fact, as a mother, I have my works learning biz and arts in arts and biz departments. Already, ever since they started a few months ago, they've been making arts and biz, and they've been making money from it. All these children, the jambites and all that, those school starts, all these about to enter into university and technology students roaming about the streets. We have a host of them learning one job or the other in this department, and they've been sincerely, they've been making a good out of this workshop.
Like other initiatives of this administration, the introduction of placement tests would allow deserving pupils to be admitted into secondary schools, boost the standard of learning, and reduce the number of dropouts, as pupils will be placed according to their competency. Mass promotion has been proved to be inefficient and ineffective. There should be proper sorting to encourage pupils to know their ability and pursue their dreams and ambitions in areas they are gifted. With huge investments already made by Governor Babatunde Rajifashola's administration in restoring public schools, it is expected that the impact of this investment would start showing through improved teaching and learning with encouraging results. So far, there is cause to hope, as records have shown. The new initiative would no doubt help further to fully restore the lost glory of the state education system.
For some time now, the issue of collapsed building and its attendant negative consequences have been engaging the attention of Lagos State government. Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola, since coming into government, has made many efforts at nipping this incident in the bud. Following the many incidences that occurred in 2007, an extensive and far-reaching consultation was made with several but relevant professional bodies, interest groups, community development committees, traditional leaders and other stakeholders on this challenge. In line with recommendations made to government, the administration took a bold step at restructuring various institutions responsible for planning and building control. 3 agencies were therefore created. These are Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority, LASPA, Lagos State Building Control Agency, LABSCA, and Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency, LASURA. It is on record that government, through various stakeholders meeting at local government level, has been sensitizing members of the public on the need to cooperate with it, ensure that all developments are approved, and also make sure that anyone discovered to be involved in illegal development is reported immediately to the appropriate authorities. In June 2007, the administration held the first workshop at Lagos State Television premises, Agidingbi, in Ikeja. Here, all stakeholders in the building industry met and discussed the causes and prevention of this menace. This led to the emergence of Technical Committee on Planning Regulations and Building Control. This was followed by efforts to articulate necessary policy instruments to respond to and tackle these ugly incidents. On 5th July 2010, the present administration enacted a new law, Urban and Regional Planning Development Law 2010. This provides for the administration to physical planning, urban regeneration and building control in Lagos State and for connected purposes. This is to obviate the challenges that have faced the operations of previous physical planning laws and regulations and specifically abate future building collapse in Lagos State. This was then followed by the stakeholders' retreat on the strategy for the implementation of this new law. As a matter of fact, Lagos State Building Control Agency, LABSCA, was established with the responsibility to ensure development control.
It should be noted that building collapse is counterproductive and it has negative effects on physical, economic and socio-cultural development which the state government is unwilling to tolerate. Collapse of buildings is an ill wind that blows no one any good. And it is in the light of this that the Building Control Agency was created to combat collapse of buildings. The agency took off a couple of months ago. Further to this, the state government is working at establishing more operational enforcement teams to make sure prospective developers comply with planning and development standards operative in the state and nip in the bud all forms of sharp practices.
Despite these efforts, the administration has not relented on its hers as it continues to seek the support and collaboration of stakeholders in abating this scourge. One of such partners is Building Collapse Preventive Guild, BCPG. On Wednesday, 12th December 2012, the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, in collaboration with Building Collapse Preventive Guild, organized a one-day workshop with concreting managers and artisans in Lagos State. The event was a combination of sensitization and training for this group.
The expanding scope of building collapse is a grim situation where works are not being marked with action based back to BCPG. An emergence of a body that should be piloted by construction professionals who understand the intricacies of building construction process and the landscape. It will turn to foolhardiness if an individual claims to possess the knowledge and ability to deal with a hydra like building collapse. This huge problem can only be solved by a collective and pragmatic approach. It requires the working together of various professionals in the built environment, involving the artisans in this task and bringing in other stakeholders. Government alone cannot tackle this problem. A working relationship should be established between professionals in government service and those in the private sector in order to achieve desired results.
As one of the major workforce in the construction industry, the attention that was given to concreting managers and artisans is no doubt critical if the current efforts to stop quackery in the industry is to record any meaningful success. With the establishment and successful takeoff of Lagos State Building Control Agency, this program was a great avenue to keep these artisans up with current developments from the government. It is generally agreed that one of the major challenges facing the built environment is the prevalence and use of fake or substandard building materials in construction activities. The sight of several collapsed buildings has confirmed this revelation times without number. While governments at federal and state levels strive to ensure that these sharp but dangerous practices are curtailed, it is more important that construction managers and workers are not only aware of the danger inherent in the use of such materials, but that they possess the requisite will and refuse to use same. It is a matter of integrity and self-discipline.
Basically what we now do to get our own consistency out of it, we might do a slum test immediately. People have to know the kind of spiritual time frame that is.
What we just see here is the mix of the concrete sample, that is the aggregate, sand, cement, and then we have to do the first test on site, what we call the slump test. And then we have the apparatus here. This is what we call the slump cone. This is the slump cone, this is the slump base. So this is what we use to determine the workability of any concrete, whether that concrete is workable. What we mean by workable is that whether it can be useful in any construction. So for you to make use of this concrete, we have to first determine the workability of the concrete using this slump cone apparatus, and that is what we want to do now. So you scoop part of the fresh concrete and put it inside this cone. The cone is supposed to be filled in 4 layers. This is the first layer now. After the first layer, we are going to pump 25 blows during the slump of the rod. So it's going to tap it 25 times. So that's what it's doing. That is the tapping. The tapping is to move the concrete. How many blows? 25. So the second layer now.
This is the last layer. Then it's going to use the hand thrower to level the surface of the slump coat. Then you remove all the dirt around the slump. Now, the person that is holding the cone will effectively and systematically remove the cone so that the whole thing will not collapse, because once it's standing, so it's not as if you just remove it back. So it will be moving it gradually until we achieve what we want to achieve. Now, please let us hear what you say. What he has done now is he has just removed the slump cone. Now we have three different types of slump. We have the true slump, we have the collapse, and we have the shear. The first one is the true slump. That is after removing this cone, when the concrete stands uprightly without shearing or without spreading on the surface of the base, that is a true slump. But the second one, which is the collapse, that is where you see this thing not standing up. The whole thing just as it's moving, it's low, just and it spread on the surface of the slump base. And the third one is that as it's moving it, part of the concrete to just shear away, to just collapse, part of it will collapse. That is what we call shear slump. But as it is now, this is a true slump because it doesn't collapse, then it does not shear to the other side. So it's supposed to have kind of a shape that we take after the slump. But as it is a true slump. So the next thing now, we're going to measure. And it is what we measure from this test now that will give us the real workability of this concrete that we have just used. So the way we measure is we now invert the slump code. By this, we invert the slump code, place it side by side. We place it side by side the slump. Then we now put a measuring rule or the slump, the tapping rod like this. Because we want to measure a slump. Now, you take your either the steel rule or your measuring tape. Then from the tip of the slump of the concrete, then to the base of your meter rule or the rule that you want to use, you now put your meter rule at the tip, then to the base of this tapping rod. That's somebody this one is
about 3.5.
That's 90 millimeters. If you have the number, let's say 150, 200 mm, that means that the slump is not workable. You understand what I'm saying? It's not workable. And if you have something like between 0 to 100, if you have 0 to 100, that means the concrete is workable. What I mean by workability, I'll explain. It's just that you want to fill your decking. That is what we call slab. And you now pour, because most of the concrete workers, they believe that when there is too much water, that is when they pass through their work, they pour the concrete and they leave the side on side. You understand? But it is wrong, and that is why the more reason why we are here today, so that we educate ourselves on the reason why we have to carry out this test. Because if it is not workable, then we have to revert back to the engineer or to the people mixing. Then they should do the correct thing, because you cannot make use of the concrete because it's not workable.
For the workshop to have desired impact, Government and Building Collapse Preventive Guild assembled a vibrant team of highly experienced experts. These resource persons spoke on relevant issues bordering on building collapse, standard and safety in the build industry.
One of your major objectives important that you keep your eye in the ground to get the information and pass it over to those who take action immediately. Another fact that I want to make the Lagos State government is the creation of the establishment of the Building Control Agency. Now, building control plays a very major role in getting things stabilized, particularly in the built environment. Any country that does not have a serious building control organization will not be able to carry out or will not be able to escape the problem of building collapse. So, for Lagos State government to think it wise to set up a building control agency, I think they are on the right course. Other states have not set up this kind of agency, and I'm afraid if there is no agency that is tied fully with issues of building control, the problem of building collapse will remain in Nigeria.
You and I know that it is not just about concrete mixers. It's about all the stakeholders in the building industry. Sometimes you have buildings collapsing because of monopoly of wisdom or knowledge by professionals. You give a job, a very big job to a contractor, instead of assembling all the necessary professionals that should be involved in the construction project. A few ones decide to do it alone, and at the end of the day, they don't get it right. And what is the end of this will be lack of structural integrity of the building, and at the end of the day, you have the buildings collapsing. So, what I'm saying in essence is that if we don't want our buildings to collapse again, we need to restore the necessary moral values. We also need to restore the professional ethics. Don't do more than you are able to do. And don't do another person's job. Do your own and allow other professionals to make their own contributions. That way, if you follow due process, you follow the necessary moral values and the professional ethics, our buildings will not collapse again.
Basically, we believe that before you take up a job on a daily basis as you resume on your duty post, we expect you to take a brief look at the job you want to do. What are the risks involved in this job? So we present to you 5 basic steps. They are very easy ones on how to assess the job. Do a risk assessment of the job you want to do before you go into it. And don't just jump on any job and say, this is my job, I've been doing it in the last 20 years, 10 years. Those things that you are used to that haunts you the more. The first thing I would like to tell us there is that we should list the task. What I will say here, the task of the job that you're going to do, we expect that you should list out the task. If you are mixing the concrete, don't let us go into the industrial mix. Now let's do the local mix. If you are mixing the concrete, and as a man on site, you have done the mixing, you have selected your materials and you are putting them side by side. What is the best way to carry the mix after you have mixed it? What is the best way? Or how do we normally carry it? You carry your headband on your head. How do we normally bend down to carry it? Let me just give you a quick illustration of what we normally do on site. You know, we just go like this, load. You involve every part of your body by going down and doing it up. But rather than doing it this way, what are you doing? You are putting the whole load on the back. But if you go down, what are you doing? You are distributing the entire load onto every part of your body. So you are likely to have little pain in the evening when you get back home than the one that you're going to do like that. So if you get to a job site in the morning, don't assume that this is a normal job. Accept it as a new task and list out the tasks that you want to do. Look at those things that could go wrong. Look at those things that could go right.
To effectively eradicate regular building collapse in the state, the present administration is promoting acceptable building standards and professionalism in construction of buildings. However, such a drive can only be successful if professionals and stakeholders join hands with governments to ensure the effort is taken to its logical conclusion. As the commercial hub of West Africa, having the fastest growing property corridor in Africa, the challenge of collapse building is particularly enormous on the state's multi-billion naira real estate sector. As one of the visible indices of development in the state, investment in the real estate sector became suspicious as it faced serious threat. It is within this context, coupled with other negative consequences like loss of precious lives and properties, that the relevance of this workshop could be determined. There are sordid issues any responsible government should not allow to continue to happen. This workshop thus provided a platform for the administration to further enlist more support. The organization of this workshop was Building Collapse Preventive Guild, BCPG, reinforces the commitment of Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola's administration to ensure sanity in the construction industry. It is a proof of the fact that government alone cannot do it, and the support of individuals is no less critical to tackling the challenge. So far, the efforts of government seem to be paying off, as very few cases of collapse building were recorded in recent times. If these efforts and policy implementation are intensified, there is no doubt that government would have completely nipped this challenge in the bud and set the necessary standard for the state's real sector to be safe and investment friendly.